Hello, 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 everybody. It's Christy Renee with Heads Up, and we are back for a Super Sunday edition of the Sports Influencer Roundtable. I am happy to be here. We're live on Facebook. I'm trying to get our numbers to build up a little bit more. And as I watch my screen and try to double task, I gotta mute that first. We have an exciting show coming up. I'm really, it's always nice to have a great group of people, and we've got yet another great group of college basketball coaches who also all happen to be Kappas. So we will get into that. I'm waiting for the right number. So come on, y'all. Share, invite some people, get your friends, tell your friends to tell their friends. There we go. Numbers are growing. Numbers are going. Hope everybody is staying safe out there. It's a beautiful, hot day here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So hope that y'all are not taking the wrong advantage and still social distancing and staying safely apart. Let's see. Let's get our numbers. Come on, y'all. Invite some more friends. Again, we've got a great show, great lineup. This is episode number 31. I got it right because I had a pre-show pep talk to let me know this is number 31 of the Sports Influencer Roundtable sessions. And we are just excited to still be here, going strong. People want more. So that's a great place to be in. And so as we get to a number that I'm getting happier with, I am going to go ahead and bring out the man that with the vision of who is the sports influencer himself and the founder of the Heads Up Foundation, Mr. Jabari Johnson. Come on in.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Hey, Christy Renee, great to see you as always.
Great to be seen. Thank you. I'm good. It's again another episode. I got the number right this time. Thank you for the heads up.
Yeah.
Pun intended. 31 shows.
Yeah, we've been at it since March 31st. We've had a ton of knowledge join us over the last couple of weeks. We've had head coaches from the NBA. Assistant coaches from the NBA, head college coaches, current and former players. We've even had a parent segment. We've had a top AAU and high school coaches across the state of Texas coming together for a cool panel discussion on bridging the gap between high school and AAU basketball. The men of Omega Psi Phi, shout out to the brothers of Omega who came on and gave us a great panel discussion. We made history with that one, and I'm really looking forward to today's edition because we have the men of Kappa Alpha Psi who are coaching at the college ranks now that will be joining us, headlined by Florida State head men's basketball coach Leonard Hamilton. So excited to have these guys join us on the roundtable. Guys, if you would, please come on out and join us.
Come on to the roundtable. Hello.
All right. Hey, man.
How y'all doing?
Great. The gang is all here, man. The men of Kappa Alpha Psi, they're running deep today. My goodness, Chris, we got a lot on the table today.
I know. It's a full house. How are you guys doing? How's everybody?
Doing well.
Doing well.
All is well. Very well. Very good.
Fantastic. Appreciate you guys joining us. Coach Hamilton, I'm going to jump in with you, sir. We're going to get this party started with you. Let's talk a little bit about the impact of COVID-19. How has it impacted you both personally and professionally?
I think that what it's done is given us an opportunity to teach our youngsters some things about life that are the unexpected challenges that we have in life, and that you have to make adjustments. And even though in our case we were extremely disappointed not having an opportunity to participate for the ACC championship, and we felt we were on a roll going into the NCAA tournament, these challenges that we have are bigger than the enjoyment and the pleasures that we would have had and would enjoyed participating in basketball if someone had unfortunately got the virus and had something unfortunate happen to them. This would have been pale. What we were doing was pale in comparison. So our guys adjusted, and what we're going to do is utilize the pain of not having a chance to participate in the NCAA tournament to fuel our energy and our focus for the upcoming season.
Now, Coach, tell me a little bit about. I'm sorry, and that was a great point. I'm gonna pass that question around the round table in a minute, but before each one of you guys speak, I need you to tell me where you played at in your year. So, Coach, I'm gonna let you finish your statement with yours, and then the rest of the guys can start with theirs.
My name is Leonard Hamilton, Zeta Kappa chapter, Kappa Alpha Psi, University of Tennessee at Martin, April the 16th, 1971.
Wow. Okay. All right. Let's see who we're gonna move past the mic on to. Coach Jones. How about you? Talk a little bit about the impact of COVID-19 on you personally and professionally.
Coach Will Jones, Alpha Lambda chapter, South Carolina State, spring 2002. Kind of the same thing as Coach Ham said. Really a time for our guys to really focus on what's going on in the real world and conversations with them. That basketball and the rules that apply in the basketball court, it don't apply right now. You know, right now you have to listen to the powers to be and follow the game plans as far as what they're telling us to do, social distancing, making sure that they follow the game plan that'll keep everybody safe. And at the same time, like coaches, continue to build in them the foundations of our program, what we can do in a virtual platform, and continue to focus and help them, let them know that academics is still paramount, that they can't play without finishing academics, and just making sure that they stay safe and stay connected.
Okay. Good deal. Coach Easley, how about you?
Kevin Easley, Theta Beta, non-grader, spring 01, Austin Peay State University. I can honestly say for me, not having the connection with my guys, like we would on an everyday basis. Obviously we still have to do our checks in on them, and we're still doing checks with academics and things of that nature. But for me, I try to stress to my guys, like, this is an opportunity. You were gone away from your family for a long time, so connect with your family. Like, this is your time to spend with your family, because obviously things right now are much bigger than basketball. So, I try to reiterate to our guys that you gotta understand where we are right now, understand the climate, take care of yourself, spend as much time with your people as you can, and don't take these things for granted.
Absolutely. That's great words. Coach Mincy, how about you?
Jordan Mincy, Gamma Tau Spring 07, Deuce Club, Kent State University. Just as far as the effect that this virus has had on our program, we try to make sure our guys have life lessons. And some of the lessons that we just try to tell them to focus on is, you never know when the game is going to be taken away from you. And at any moment, you need to cherish the thoughts in the moments that you have, especially with your teammates. And so just taking a step back, understanding that these small things in life, valuing the ability to walk around campus, interact with some of the people that you have on campus. We just want to make sure that our guys understand that and to cherish those moments. And so definitely been a challenge for us, just making sure that we continuously stay on them academically, but at the same time, we've done a great job of using technology to our advantage, doing platforms like this, Zoom calls, and make sure that we FaceTime with them. And so just still trying to hold a connection with them, make sure that they stay on top of their academics, and continue just to pour into them for young men as well. So as far as that, like I said, it's definitely changed not only our players, our program, but the university, the community, everyone around the world. So it definitely had a major impact.
Wow. Coach Hawkins, how about you?
Yeah, this is Chris Hawkins, Theta Psi University, Theta Psi, Radford University, Spring 90. This is really a challenge for our guys. I think one thing our guys have gotten from this is they're more eager, just from doing our Zoom calls with those guys. They realize that basketball and the game of basketball is not always promised to them now that we've gone through this pandemic, but they are more eager now, more eager to get out and want to play now. So it does give a little bit more of a guys wanting to be hungry and appreciating the game more. And then also just appreciating camaraderie, appreciate being around one another now that we cannot do that on a daily basis.
Coach Reese, how about you?
It's same here, which just to reiterate what Coach Hawkins said, just guys are not, used to being around each other now. So they kind of like want to be with each other a little bit more, want to get in the gym. We trying to keep them spirits up, keep talking, doing Zoom calls, getting prepared mentally, when we can get back sooner than later, hopefully. But we just stressing them just to stay safe and just stay connected. I talk to the guys a lot of times. That's what I do. I'm making sure they good most of the time. So just trying to keep them safe in a good place.
So are the guys, and anybody can kind of jump out there and grab this one, are the guys in your program, how are they adjusting to this process? Are they handling it pretty well, or has it been a struggle over the last couple of weeks? Because some guys need that structured environment to learn and go through the process and be there every day. So has that been a challenge for any of you guys?
Well, I could say, from my perspective, academically, it kind of has. I mean, some of your at-risk kids, like you said, kids, you got to pretty much walk to class and have extensive study hall and things of that nature. Their grades may not be where you want them to be at this particular point because, I've had guys that don't have computers, that have to go from place to place, and they're doing their assignments on their phone. And we're trying to do some things, obviously, to combat that, to give them the resources that they need to be successful. But it's been really trying, from that aspect. I'm not sure if you guys are experiencing the same thing, but not having those guys, especially the ones that are at risk that are right by you, are really tough to deal with right now.
Yeah, Coach Gray, why don't you chime in and tell us about how your guys are handling all of this?
Andre Gray, Fayetteville alum, Spring '99. I was about to jump in on that question anyway.
Okay.
I think the one thing, the beauty of it, you always try to find the silver lining behind everything, is that some of these guys are learning for the first time how to kind of manage on their own. We kind of been holding their hands so much through the years. And now guys are trying to have to find their own way. They can't have excuses for not getting to the gym. They can't have excuses for not getting in shape. They don't have us over the top of them the whole time. So it's kind of a chance for some of these guys to grow. The second part is they're learning to communicate better. Again, a lot of times they was able to we track them down or shoot us a text. Now we have to have conversations, and they're having real conversations with adults, and they get to have conversations with their families. A lot of times they didn't get the chance to do that. So I think of it as a chance for a lot of people to grow, including myself. So it's been beautiful.
Good. Who hasn't introduced himself?
Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. Brian Reese, Theta Omicron, UNC Chapel Hill, 91.
Stacey Palmore, Livingstone College, Gamma Delta, Spring '91.
Justin Landry, Nu Sigma, Cal State Hayward, Fall 08.
Shawn Walker, Elizabeth City State University, Epsilon Alpha, Spring '94.
Jermaine Johnson, Kappa Beta, Spring 2000, University of Memphis.
Larry Blunt, Spring 03, Epsilon Alpha chapter at Elizabeth City State University.
Cliff Warren, Silver Spring, Maryland, Alumni Chapter, 96.
Okay, is that everybody? Is everybody accounted for now?
I think so.
Okay, that's important. So let's go back to that last question. Anybody else, do you all have any student athletes that are in your program that are struggling during this season? I know it's really, really tough for everybody. Is there anybody that's reached out and how are you handling that?
Yes, I'll start. We've got a couple guys struggling for a number of different ways. I think, Andre made a point about our guys always depending on us for everything. They're learning to grow up. They're learning how to communicate other than just sending a text. They're learning how to talk. They're learning how to communicate. But we've had a couple guys who have lost family members. We have a young man who's best way to put it, he's got some emotional issues, but he lost his grandmother recently. So it was interesting to hear him speak. I got a chance to talk to him because I lost my mother a few weeks ago. So I got a chance to talk to him one-on-one. He's not my academic guy, so I don't check with him all the time. We've split up guys academically. So I just made it a point to talk to him, and we talked for, 30, 40 minutes. I probably did most of the talking. But then sure enough, when my mother passed, the young man called me, sent me a video saying, "Hey, coach, I'm here for you if you want to talk," just like he reached out to me. So that to me warmed my heart. Guys have said it before, like you really find out this is more than basketball when you're coaching young men who look like you. So that's been rewarding for me. But we do have some guys that are struggling.
Wow. Well, our condolences to you, Coach Warren. I'm very sorry to hear that. And in all of us, everybody, I think at this point, there's some degree, a small degree of separation that we've all been impacted and touched by this. It's an incredible time, and it's very difficult. It's more difficult, it seems now, because we all can't gather together and hug and love on one another. So our hearts go out to you. Anybody else have those same challenges in your program?
I think some of ours has been our seniors. Some of those guys had a plan to playing professionally after this semester, after this year, and their plans are on hold right now. So I noticed one of our seniors in particular, he's really struggling with what's next for him because he don't have the chance. He's signed with an agent now, but he don't know where he's going to be playing. He didn't really have plans of getting a real job after this. So he's probably the guy in our program who's struggling the most.
We have two international students. They kind of struggling a little bit, not being close to their family wanting to be over there, really dealing with that. Just trying to, they can't come hang out with us. They got to stay with other families in the community. And once again, it's not their family, so they kind of struggle with that a lot. We just try to stay in contact with them, try to get them closer to us, even though this situations going on.
Good stuff. So I'm gonna change gears and we're gonna touch on a different topic. There are a lot of recruits and parents and individuals who aspire to be a college basketball player sooner than later. Coach Hamilton, what are some of the challenges that you see kids face when they're transitioning from one level to the next? So let's say high school to college or junior college to college for that matter.
Well, there's no doubt that there's a tremendous amount of challenges. The biggest challenge is their mentality. Learn how to develop the focus where you learn to compete as hard as you can in every possession of the entire practice. When you're the most talented player on your team and you have to avoid fouls in high school, you take a lot of possessions off. What I find that youngsters have a difficult time adjusting to the intensity, the focus that it takes on the court, and then it's challenging for them to adjust to the workload, the challenge of going to study hall, studying, lifting weights, getting all your extra work in, and then eating right, getting the proper rest. That's a lot more challenging for youngsters coming in. So you have to be extremely disciplined. And that's something that we work hard at developing and making sure they understand that now, instead of being the man, you one of the boys. And that's sometimes extremely challenging when you have people in their ears who really have more of a challenge adjusting to it than the players actually do on the team.
Great point. Justin Landry, how about you, man? What are some of the challenges you've seen in transitioning to that next level?
So my role is a little bit different here at Georgia State. I'm actually the strength and conditioning coach here for men's basketball. One of the things I communicate with parents and recruits on is that we're going to develop a plan because it's not a microwave that when you get here, it's just going to instantly happen for you because you have to get adjusted to the game. You have to get your body prepared for that. So it's about creating that plan and sitting down with them and seeing what they've done successful before they got to college and putting together that plan with the coaches for that player, and then as well sitting down and communicating that with the player. Because honestly, when they get to college, one of the most beneficial relationships that I see is with the strength and conditioning coach because they spend so much time with us. getting their bodies ready to go, getting them ready for practice and so forth.
Coach Blunt, how about you?
Well, I think my background is a bit unique, coming from the high school and the prep school ranks where we live with guys. And I think the biggest difference from my perspective is the attention to detail. I mean, I think you get guys in high school that are, like Coach Ham mentioned, a lot more talented than some of the guys that they're playing against. And then you get to college and everyone coaches everything. If you step with the wrong foot, someone notices it and someone cuts it up and typically can show it to you. So I think from my perspective, the biggest change, I think, is just the attention to detail and having to carry over. If you have a scouting report, for example, you know, you may have to force that person left, where in high school that may not be as big of a deal. So I think one of the biggest challenges is just how much attention to detail everyone pays to everything.
Wow, good stuff. Jermaine Johnson, been around a long time, former UTA alum. Talk a little bit about some of the challenges you've seen coaching in this business.
I think transitioning, one of the challenges is obviously they know the required work. I mean, that's mandated. But what kids often get lost in translation is the unrequired work. That's the work outside of the mandated, mandatory workouts, the mandatory practice. And so if you're trying to, you know, go to a whole nother level and you're trying to get an edge, the unrequired work becomes paramount. And a lot of kids don't understand the embracing that has to go hand in hand with the unrequired work in order to get an edge. So those are some of the challenges that I think that I've encountered.
So, wow, okay. Well, so Jordan Mincy, do me a favor, walk me through a typical day as a student athlete at the University of Florida. I'm on the basketball team. What would my day look like? Start me from start to finish. The time I wake up to the time I go to bed. Give me that timeline.
Well, oftentimes, President Green, our strength coach, he has 3 lifting groups. And so majority of the time, our first lifting group, it starts about 6:30 a.m. in the morning. And so that first group necessarily consists of it may be guards, it may be bigs, just depending on their academic schedule. And so let's say you start out at 6:30, you're going to lift weights, probably go from 6:30 until about 7:30, 7:45. Those guys that have the opportunity go back to the locker room. We'll provide breakfast for them. And then after they've eaten their breakfast, they've showered, then they'll head to their first class for the day. A lot of times they'll either have 1 or 2 classes on that particular day, just depending on their academic schedule and also the major they're in. And then from there, we'll also have times for them as far as shooting times with coaches on the staff. And so we want to make sure we get our guys, you know, opportunities outside of, like Coach Johnson said, mandated practice times to make sure they continue to develop on their game. And so we'll set up a shooting group for different position coaches. And then also we'll make sure that those guys also make sure that they continue to get treatment with treatment on their bodies and seeing our athletic trainers. And so, like I said, it's a long day depending on the practice schedule. A lot of times we'll try to practice early in the morning. And then at times we'll also have to practice in the evenings, just depending on the academic schedule of our entire team. And so usually when those guys get out of practice, say around 3:45, 4:30-ish, those guys will then have about an hour break. And then we have mandated study hall at nighttime, where those guys will see their tutors. They'll go over their academics that they've had throughout the course of the day. And then they'll probably end up getting back to their dorms or their apartments, probably around 9:30, 10. And then we try to do at least 2 or 3 times a week. I know with our staff, especially the assistant coaches, we try to make sure that we go by there and check on those guys, make sure that they're not doing anything they don't need to be doing. And so that's an average day for one of our guys.
That's a full day.
Full day, yes, indeed.
We try to be as organized as possible.
So one time, well, many times we've, gotten the red carpet treatment at certain colleges and just to see the behind the scenes and see how lovely the campuses are. I want to know, we went to a school and it was like a $10 million nutritional snack budget. Now this was the snack. You mentioned that y'all feed them breakfast, you do all of that. What's the investment like? Now, and I'll also say this, and the reason why I'm asking this is for those student athletes that are out there now at the high school level that are eating hot Cheetos at halftime and sucking on sour gummies, you know, before and after the game. I've seen them in the concession stand lines, send them on their way. It's so infuriating that they don't understand how important nutrition is. So I'm curious, do you all, I don't know if you have a $10 million snack budget, but is that something that you all take so seriously, because that does matter to their bodies and their performance?
Well, we definitely do. We definitely do. I know Coach Landry, being the strength and conditioning coach, he probably can talk more about this, but I know Preston Green, our strength and conditioning coach, he's hands-on when it comes to nutrition. You know, Gatorade was created here. And so one of the things that we try to do is incorporate, you know, Gatorade shakes, Gatorade power bars, and make sure that our guys continue to stress how important nutrition is. And it's also one of the fears that we have with those guys being away from here. You know, they're not able to have those resources where they can easily tap into them while being on campus. And so that is one of the negatives about those guys being at home and being away and not having those resources. And so nutrition is obviously up there with taking care of those guys' body, not only in the strength and conditioning, but also just make sure that they're continuously having long health in their lives, and not just with basketball, but like I said, off the court as well. So it's definitely an investment here.
Good deal. So here's a question, another hot topic I'm gonna throw around the table. A lot of buzz about the transfer portal. A lot of different opinions. Had hundreds of coaches on here got different opinions. I want to hear from you guys your thoughts on the transfer portal, good, bad, indifferent. You know, some like it, some don't. Some just going to adjust to it just because they have to. But what do you think about it? Coach Ham, I'll start with you.
Well, to be very honest with you, I have a lot of serious thoughts about this, and I've been in it long enough to understand. I think that I don't know if there's anything good about guys being able to start their life off with being able to break contracts without really having any kind of penalty. I think if things are not going well for you, you need to you can make an adjustment, and we have a vehicle by which you transfer, you set out the year, you make your adjustments, and you move on. I don't like the fact that, you know, in life, if I get married and I get a divorce, I'm breaking a contract, and there are stipulations that you have to adhere to. If you don't pay for a car, you got issues. If you don't live up to the contract with your house payments, you have consequences. If you're at the Lakers, you can't just leave the Lakers and go over to the Clippers. You know, you have a contract that you have to adhere to. But now in college, you know, you can, if you got a child and he comes in late after curfew, he's 16 years old, he comes in at 2 o'clock, you take his keys, you can wake up the next morning and all his clothes will be gone. He can move next door with the neighbors and they let him drive their car with no curfew. I'm just saying to you, we are now developing a situation where guys don't have to make any adjustments, learn, grow, or make any sacrifices. If I yell at a player too loud, he can transfer in the portal. If I don't play him the right number of minutes, he can transfer in the portal with no penalty. Or in other words, I can play in all year. And I just think it's a challenging for a mid-level coach to develop a kid for 3 years, and then all of a sudden, his 4th year, he's gone. Now, personally, Florida State will benefit by that portal action, because everybody who wants to transfer is calling us on the phone. Now, so I can benefit from it, but it's not right for college basketball. It's not right for what you teach kids. Now, and if there will be circumstances by which a kid probably needs to transfer. But now we got 800 or 900 kids transferring every year. Now, something's wrong with that picture. So I'm saying that right now we need to have more conversations about how we're going to handle this, where we address the need for kids to transfer when they need to, but now it's free for all, and it's become a real problem.
Yeah, wow. It's good commentary. Cole, anybody else want to jump in and touch on that?
Yeah, I think one of the things when these kids transfer, like, and I've been at all levels, and it's almost like roster management for most coaches now, because you're reading body language, you're hearing things that AAU coaches are talking about your guys trying to leave and want to play at a different level. It's amazing the numbers now, about 800 guys in the transfer portal, and there's not that many scholarships available right now. So a lot of those kids are getting bad advice. They're getting bad guidance. And they're always thinking that they're going to be able to play at a higher level. Some can, but most of them that go up, their numbers and their production is almost cut in half. So it's kind of one of those things where you kind of be careful before you jump, and then be careful before you take a kid at a lower level, because it may pan out, it may not. It's a crapshoot. The grad transfer, I think that's different. That's a one-time investment. So it could work out, or if it doesn't work out, it's just a one-year deal. But just getting bad advice, that's a huge thing with these kids transferring. And for us college coaches, like I said, it's roster management. You got to be able to manage it. And I'm sure some high major dudes, they don't want 13 scholarships. They probably want 11. So at the end, they're going to have guys going to the league, and then they're going to have room for grad transfers. So depending on what level you're at, you got to be able to maneuver it, and it's different for everybody at different levels.
Anybody else got any thoughts on that? Go ahead, Coach.
Let me chime in if I could. I like to give, from a different perspective, and I want to kind of chime in on this from I have a son that's in the transfer portal. All right, and so I'll say it to you this way: there are kids, and from a coaching perspective, we have the mindset that kids are leaving and they have a difficult time, or they're not playing as much as they want to play, or they're unhappy, and then they hop up and leave. But then there's a different perspective out there where coaches are also recruiting kids off of the transfer portal and putting kids on the transfer portal because there's a kid on the transfer portal that's coming from a higher level. So we have to be sure that there's a lot of kids in the transfer portal, all right? And there are a lot of them that just want something bigger and better. There are some kids in the transfer portal, though, that went to a place that wanted to be developed, all right? And there are kids there that maybe want to stay, and that have done nothing wrong. They've gone to class every day. They work their ass off every day. And sometimes they're even told, you've done a great job, man. We're looking forward to you being back a year later, until someone shows up on the transfer portal that's from your area, or someone that you recruited from someplace else, which means you move somebody out. So you there's 863 on the transfer portal, then someone commits, it's 862, but somebody has to go for somebody to come in. So some of the transfer portal conversation, this is a different perspective, but some of that is a little bit different for kids. Kids are thrown out there because the question always has to be asked: what's wrong with the kid? Like, why is he leaving? The kid's automatically the problem, which basically sometimes, not all the time, sometimes we're now as a coaching body looking at. I'm doing it at Division II. I'm trying to find Division I transfers, no doubt about it. So some of the kids in that transfer portal are moving because certain kids are on the transfer portal already, and they may be a better player or deemed to be a better player, instant gratification, which is creating an environment for more kids to be in that portal.
Let me say this in reference to the portal. You've always been able to transfer, like Coach Ham said, whether you had to sit out for a year or whether you go to the grad transfer route. I think we got to be careful about who's controlling the narrative about transferring, who's continuing to put the information out there about when you can transfer, comparing student athletes to coaches. And this goes back to Coach Ham. I mean, we're adults, we have kids, we have real responsibilities. And an athlete shouldn't be compared to a coach, that they can leave whenever they want to and they have that liberty. But the narrative is being sold now that an athlete, should be able to do whatever they want to do when they want to do it. And it goes back to breaking contracts or doing whatever I want to do when I want to do it. And I think the longer that narrative is controlled by certain individuals, it's going to hurt only certain individuals. The individuals that a lot of us are probably listening to this call right now, the coaches that are on the call right now, our kids are going to get hurt in that, because at the end of the day, graduation is the goal. All of our kids aren't going to the NBA. And so if I transfer, I have the opportunity to transfer 3 times, 4 times in my career, and I get to the end of the rope and I don't have enough credits to graduate, my coach or whoever I'm playing for has to give me money to finish my degree. And if you're not playing for the right coach, you're not going to get that money to pay for your degree. You're going to be 8 credits short, and you're going to finish a 4-year college career, and you're not going to have a degree. I think it comes all the way back to that. And that's why, like Coach Am said, we have to have a lot of conversation about transfers in the portal, and 800 kids being in the portal right now. How many of those kids are going to get trapped in a situation where they're not going to be able to have a degree and finish? I think that's where it goes for me as far as the transfer portal.
Sounds like the transfer portal. Look, transfer portal. My goodness, that's a
tongue twister.
Portal is a conversation that, again, we've had multiple times on this show, and it just seems like it's a gamble. It really does. It's like you just never really know, and it is circumstantial. It sounds like it's going to be based on each individual circumstance. So let me segue into the next, because sometimes these issues come up when it comes to the transfer portal and having those avenues of I guess, moving on to something new. Character and academics. How strong does that play in your, what is that like in your recruiting process? Can you, a couple of you, just talk about how those two elements play a role in your process?
Yes.
Anybody?
Well, I don't have a problem with addressing that. In the last 28 years of coaching, I've only had 6 kids not graduate that have been with me for 4 years. I've been at Florida State now, going on my 19th year. I've only had 3 kids not graduate. I realize the importance of graduating and getting your degrees. Now, but I don't mind taking a chance on a kid with a little bit of edge. We try to do the very best job we can of trying to evaluate the personalities of youngsters, but we hold them accountable academically. And sometimes you have to take kids who maybe might just need to be growing. And we only take kids who are perfect, with high character and perfect and do all the things the right way, then I'm not real sure we really contributing that much to what we should be contributing to. Thank God somebody tried to help me. I take that seriously, but it's a moving target. And I think I get very concerned when I see the low graduation rates with successful basketball programs all over the country. I think that we should be holding everybody accountable. Everybody should be able to be focused on getting their degrees. But so many rules and regulations that now that we are putting into effect are counterproductive to the focus of kids getting education. And that's another conversation that we really need to have from the NCAA standpoint, the coaches, the NABC, the NBA, the D League, the G League. We need to have a lot of conversation about decisions that we make on what's best for the kids that are kids that are going to college and playing in the NBA, playing AAU ball. And right now it's all over the place, and we're losing focus on those 2 areas.
Wow. I'd like to chime in on that one too as well. From a character standpoint, I was one of the guys that, I searched social media and I try to find, different red flags and things of that nature. And years ago, there was a kid I was affiliated with when I coached AAU. He had the worst Twitter that you would ever see, of any athlete I've ever seen. And a lot of people wrote him off. And he goes on and he was National Player of the Year, and he graduated, and he's making a difference in his community. And if they wouldn't have had an opportunity to take a chance on him, there's no telling where he would have been. But someone took a chance on him, and it changed his life. So again, like Coach Hamilton said, like sometimes you do got to give a guy a second chance, a guy with an edge. because they're immature. I mean, like I said, if all of us were judged on what we did when we were 18, if there were camera phones, social media, a lot of us wouldn't be sitting here on this panel right now, I would be honest. So I think you have to take each kid case by case and just, basically go with your gut.
So you mentioned this when you first started, Coach, and Coach mentioned it. I'm gonna pass it around to someone else. Coach Warren, how big of a role does social media play in your recruitment of these student athletes?
Again, I think Kevin said it best. I mean, nowadays every kid across the country has Twitter, has Instagram, Snapchat, so you got to follow them. Coach Ham can probably say it best because he's been around a few years more than the rest of us. I've been at it for 27 years on the college ranks. But I'm really excited because this is the first year I've been on a staff where every coach that's involved in recruiting has to have a conversation with the kid that we're recruiting. I've been on many staffs where this assistant, that assistant, that's quote unquote your guy, and you're not allowed to talk to that guy. But this is the first staff I've ever been on where everybody has to speak to the kid, see the kid before we're going to say we're offering a scholarship. So and we all follow the kids that we are all recruiting on social media. Before I came to Georgia State, I didn't have Instagram. I didn't have Facebook. I didn't have Snapchat. But those are the things I've had to do based on our staff's involvement with recruiting. We want to vet out all red flags as best we can so that we can all say, we offered a young man a scholarship. He's coming. We know what we're getting. Regardless, if there was an issue, like Ham said, like Kevin said, there may have been an issue with school. There may have been an issue outside of school, but at least we know coming into our situation, here's the issue. Here's what we need to make sure we're conscious of when that young man comes to campus. And just really quickly back to the academic piece, I think I know just about everybody on this call, but I know we got several guys on this call who have multiple degrees. So I know as we are recruiting, we're not just preaching the gospel because somebody else said it. It's because we've lived it ourselves. I'm very fortunate to work on the staff. We got multiple guys on staff that have multiple degrees. So when we're talking to kids about Georgia State and why they should come here and how we're going to help educate them and graduate them in 4 years, we're preaching what we've lived, not what you're supposed to do.
So I just want to clarify that I think everything everybody just said is incredibly important. And it is a strong message that, again, young student athletes pursuing next level goals, they need to hear that. I think it's important for them to know you're going to make some mistakes. Yes, we need to take some chances on some of these kids, but they are worth it. So I just want to clarify, although social media runs it, and they are some of these, Lord have mercy, they're doing so much. It really is a lot of wasted time is what they're doing. It just, you can find 107 other things to do. You're not going to count them out completely, but we do try to teach them there's a better way to present themselves, because we teach branding. We teach that it starts in 8th grade. You got to start, if your goal is to go to college and play college ball and then go on to play, professional ball, y'all got to start thinking about this early. So is it fair to say that while all the accounts may not be great, you do try to guide them once you recognize they're worth the guidance, right?
Absolutely.
Y'all say yeah to that? Yeah. Okay, because it does matter. And I want to just jump in real quickly and just do my mid-show plug and say that, Heads Up has crafted an amazing curriculum that is for our student athletes, our high school student athletes and underclassmen as well, in order to prepare them for the next level. And it includes leadership, it includes teamwork, it includes media, it includes public speaking, branding, all those things I previously mentioned. But we have an actual enrichment academy that is virtual, and everyone can go find that on our homepage at theheadsupfoundation.org. We also have, which is super important, and the reason why we're talking to all of you here today, is helping parents understand the college recruiting process for student athletes in particular. So we have a whole course designed just for parents as well. So again, you can head over to our homepage at theheadsupfoundation.org and learn more, sign up. We're ready for you. We kicked that off this week, as a matter of fact. So, Coach?
Jabari,
yes, sir.
One of the topics you have here about the process that parents and student athletes should know and be aware of.
Yes, sir.
And segueing what she was talking about, this is a different time now. We're dealing with something that we never had to deal with before. This could be a young 1-year deal. This could be a 2-year deal. And I'm not real sure. I am sure that the youngsters that we're recruiting, no one has really taken under consideration that there's a strong possibility that we might not be able to evaluate players this summer. And then we don't have any idea what it's going to be like, whether or not they're going to be able to visit our school or whether or not we're going to be able to visit them. And I want to encourage people and parents and students to start looking at this with a different type of attitude. You know, I'm talking to people and they're talking about, well, we're interested in taking our visits. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. And right now, we don't know if that's going to be practical. So I would just encourage people to be a little more focused now on trying to evaluate the schools you want to consider and understand that from a coaching standpoint, you know, just like they're talking to 4 or 5 different schools, we're talking to 3 or 4 different kids per position. And they might be leaning toward a school, but thinking that they have to become America's guest, and someone might take a scholarship away from where that youngster wants to go. So I think we all in a different set of circumstances right now that I'm not real sure we have enough conversation about. Because, you know, come November the 14th, when signing dates come, how many kids would I have had an opportunity to evaluate? How many homes would I have to have an opportunity to go in? How many kids would I been able to bring on campus? It could be a few, but it could not be any. But we still need to be responsible for making some decisions, because in November, the National Intent Date, we need to start thinking about that and have a little bit more dialogue, because everybody's going to be in a panic if we don't start talking about that now and trying to get an idea of what direction we're going to go in.
So speaking of that, that's a great point. These are unprecedented times. So for that recruit that's still trying to gain exposure and get in front of coaches, and he didn't have a spring live period, he may not have a summer live period to get evaluated by you guys. What should he do? If I got a son in my house that's still trying to get in front of coaches, what's your best piece of advice during these unprecedented times?
That's what I'm saying. I think we're going to have to communicate with your coaches,
okay,
your high school coach, your AAU coach. We might have to be a little more aggressive about sending films out and talking to people about whether or not the level of interest is there for one school or another, and trying to figure out seriously who is recruiting you and who's going to offer you a scholarship, and whether or not, you know, academically you are prepared to put yourself in a position where you can accept scholarships. I mean, right now we need to start honing in and having conversations. Where am I academically? Who's really interested in me? Who's seriously interested in me? Now, if I'm interested in a school that's not interested in me, do I have my coach call them? Do we send them some film? Because right now we can't even get in the gym to try to have workouts, or it could not be in the AAU ball for you to develop some films to send someone to be able to see. These are different circumstances that we operate under. And I'm kind of getting people thinking it's status quo, but it's not. And kids need to start trying to come up with some strategies with their coaches, their people who care the most about them, to try to help them sort out what direction they want to go in.
Anybody else want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I'll chime in on a little bit of that, because we're in a situation where we're at a mid-major level, and for us, it's very difficult to be able to get a lot of kids committed early. We've got to kind of wait for the big guys to get their stuff done. But what we try to do is we try to use virtual tours We try to use Zoom calls, and when we do Zoom, we also do Zoom with our players involved as well, almost like a home visit, so the guys can get a feel for our players as well. But we've had to use this tactic in regards to being able to get players, because typically this is our recruiting time. Mid-major level, this is the time for us to really gear up and try to get some really good players. But at the end of the day, we've looked at a lot of video. We do a lot of video right now. Now, we don't want to obviously make a commitment from a kid just strictly off of video, but we've had a familiarity with the kid. We watch more video of the kid, and then we try to satisfy the parent and the kid by, obviously virtual tours of our campus, meeting with the kid, our players through Zoom, and then also meeting with our staff through Zoom. We've done a lot of that more than we typically would because of the situation that we're in.
I think one approach that you have to understand now is it's not going to really be about what you want or, what a school can offer you, because a school can offer you and tell you they have X, Y, and Z on campus, and they can show you a snapshot virtually. But you really have to figure out what you're looking for in education, what you're looking for in a coach. Is that coach going to be somebody that you can trust and have a personal relationship with, or are you going to gamble and take a scholarship somewhere where you don't know if that coach has a personal interest or invest in you in your future? And so kind of like what Coach Ham is saying, you really have to do your homework now to make sure that you're not gambling on your career, because you can make a decision based on, oh, man, what I heard or what I seen, but you haven't had a chance to sit down or you haven't had that coach in your home. You don't know what's going on to get on campus. You may get to campus and it may be the worst thing you've ever seen in your life. So you have to spend some more time from a kid's standpoint. We have to spend more time from a coach's standpoint to make sure that we invite the right people into our program, because we're not able to go to the gym. We're not able to see them play games. We're not able to see the mannerisms that they have on the bench. And so we have to decide as a staff, is this kid the type of kid we want to bring in right now that's going to make sure that we don't get fired by something stupid that they do when they get to campus. And so all of those things have to really be evaluated.
Sure. And again, anybody can jump in and touch on this. So we're talking about the transfer portal and things. What is there a priority in your recruitment? And I say priority meaning, so now you got grad transfers, you got traditional transfers, you got junior college transfers, you got high school kids. Do you guys have a pecking order, if you will, on what you look for first? Some coaches like the older player. Some coaches want to develop the younger player. What's your thoughts on it in today?
I'll chime in on that one, and I'm not going to speak for Coach Walker, but I'm sure we're kind of going through similar things. In order to be an elite program at NAIA Division II, you have to be old, in my opinion. And for us, and I get a million calls about high school kids, but we're in one of the top NAIA leagues in the country where it's basically Division I transfer, Division II transfer. So my pecking order starts with Division I transfers, then junior college guys. And, unfortunately, the people that are going to take the major hit for this are high school kids. And especially when they do the 1 year transfer thing, whenever that passes, that's going to affect everybody. And it's going to be a numerous amount of transfers, and it's not going to be a lot of places for people to go, and some people are going to be left out. So, I'm going to probably have to adjust when that happens, because now, I can get some really good Division I transfers, but now I can probably sneak in and get some Division I, high school players that ordinarily wouldn't look at us because they're getting overlooked, because now everyone's recruiting off the transfer list.
Wow. Yeah. Anybody else want to touch on those priorities, recruiting priorities during this time?
From our perspective up here at Greensboro, we don't care. We try to get the best player we can. And our program has been a little bit harder for us to get transfers to adjust, because we do so much stuff on a day-to-day basis. We give these guys such structured calendars. So a lot of times the transfers, junior college transfers, have a harder time adjusting to how we do things here. Now, that's not to say like what the future may hold with the way that everything is working out. maybe we will do a little bit more with transfers. But in the program since Coach Miller been here, every transfer we have taken hasn't necessarily worked out. We maybe have one or two because they struggle so much with adjusting to our program. The one thing I would say, just to go back a little bit on the transfer portal thing, I think a lot of people are putting the emphasis on the kids making these decisions. I know it's been a lot of my experience. It's the adults who are telling these kids to make these decisions. I know, like everybody in this room, I say it, like we get calls. I get calls during the season from handlers or coaches from other kids that saying they're going to leave at the end of the season. I think this is one of the few professions, even the streets have codes. And right now in men's basketball, we don't have a code. We'll look each other in the face, shake your hands. You're supposed to be my friend, but we're tampering with your kids. And until we address the adults who are doing this stuff, of course the kids ain't going to do it. They don't know any better. They listen to us. It's the adults that telling those kids to do such things. So we got to be a little bit more mindful as adults and stop putting all this stuff on the kids and all that transfer stuff.
Well, I like to chime in on that a little bit, and I didn't want to dominate the conversation. We were talking about character and academics for kids. And we have more difficulties drowning out the noise that they're getting from adults of people who are trying to tell kids how to get to a place where they've never been themselves. And everybody, for whatever reason, thinks that they're going to the NBA. You only have 20 to 25 at the most positions coming available every year. You only have 500 NBA jobs totally. And you got 5,200 kids playing college Division I basketball. And every one of them think they're going to the NBA. Like I said, we need to have a conversation, and we're not doing that. We got so many committees making decisions about what's best, a committee over here, a committee over there, a committee over here. And right now, we don't have the leadership in college basketball we need. You know, we haven't had anybody speak up about the D League going on UCLA's campus in April and offering a kid money. Breaking that contract, that's extremely challenging for any of us to even think about. But no one's afraid to speak up about that. And right now, there are so many challenging things going on that we need to have everybody in one place, and let's start making decisions based on what's best for basketball. Whenever you can have a situation where you're going to have almost 200 and some kids putting their name as hardships in the NBA draft, and you only got 60 spots to be drafted. And what concerns me is that you have some kids that legitimately need to pursue their careers. So how do we give the elite athletes an opportunity to realize their dreams, but we don't give youngsters who are chasing the pot at the end of the rainbow when there's no rainbow or no pot of gold there, to put themselves in positions where in 5 or 6 years we're going to have 500 African-American kids running around 25, 26 years old with no NBA career, no degrees, kids, family with no jobs, and what are they going to do for a living? And we created that situation about how we handling our business, all of us being self-serving, all of us being selfish, and we still not having a conversation about what's best for the game and what's best for the kids that are playing the game that have allowed all of us to have a nice life.
What's best for the game. Wow, that's great, Coach. Anybody else?
Yeah, I think, Coach Ham hit it on the head. You're either going to get paid up front or you're going to get paid on the back end. And I think fast money is what they're showing a lot of African-American kids. They're going to take the fast money and they're going to have one contract. And that $300,000 that they get or $500,000 that they get, it's going to run out. They're not going to have a degree. And the pandemic's going to hit again. And they're going to be looking around and they're going to have no skills, no job, not be able to take care of their families. And it's going to affect our guys. It's going to.
We need to have a vehicle by which kids who are of the elite level have an opportunity to move on. It would be selfish of us not to appreciate and respect the fact that the D League and the NBA has created an opportunity, a vehicle, which some kids who are not interested in going to college have a chance to realize their dream. But we can't be all stepping on each other's toes. And right now, it's all over the place. It's right now, we have guys that have absolutely no shot to get drafted, but they testing the water. And I'm saying, come on, if you got to test the waters, that's your answer. But we encouraging that. And I'm saying right now we have a situation, in my opinion, is almost like the pandemic. You know, we creating some issues that we're gonna sit back and look 5 or 6 years from now and say, how did we let this happen? And I'm back to what I said initially in the first conversation. We need to get together and have a conversation where we all make decisions based on what's best for the game and for the future. Right now, I think we all have been selfish, including us as coaches, and I want to not be guilty of that. But I'm concerned about the position that we're in, the status of our game, and what I see happening to the mentality of our kids for the future.
Wow.
That's a lot of wisdom right there, Coach Hamilton. That's a lot. That is good. We're going to have to do another segment just on all of that right there. That's really rich. So listening to all of this, all of your responses are, just really a lot of good meat there, a lot of good nuggets of wisdom and advice. And hopefully everybody is really listening and honing in and they can go back and watch later. But as we get ready to close the show, one big question that, of course, we have to ask all of our guests, and we want you to speak directly to the student athletes that are coming up and trying to basically be under each of you, be under your leadership. In a couple of sentences, if you will, each of you, just start with your best piece of advice that you would give that up-and-coming student athlete in this season, going on into their next season.
And let's start with Cliff. Yeah. Coach Ham, you're going to bring us home. You'll be the tail. You bring us home with the best piece of advice as we close. We'll start with you, Cliff.
Keep it real simple. I would just say, listen, be a good listener, be coachable, listen to your support circle. Don't listen to outside people.
I got one that's pretty standard. Get off of Fortnite and get in the gym.
I know that's right. I like that one.
I would tell them that as you're using this time, that you want to make sure that the decision that you make will impact the next 40 years of your life. I think so many kids go into this chasing the bells and whistles, and I know it's been mentioned in this call. They have no idea what the long-term play is, and people watch them and they enjoy them and they enjoy the success that they bring the program. The kids leave and then they don't know what's next. So I would just say, just make sure, especially while you have this time, you can start focusing in on the 40-year decision, not just the 4-year decision.
40-year decision.
I would.
Go ahead, Coach.
I would say, make sure your talent level is up to where you need to be. Keep your nose in your books. Make sure your circle of influence is strong and leading you the right way. And then once you're fortunate enough to get to college, understand that the ball will stop bouncing at some point in time. University is going to use your talent level. So it's your job to use the university so you can be a better man once the ball stops bouncing.
Good stuff, Coach.
I would just like to echo and just talk about time as far as, you obviously have time to improve, but also it can be a negative as well. And so just take that time just to pour into yourself, continue to be around the right people, especially when you're at home. A lot of you individuals are in certain areas or certain challenging places. Definitely understand that. And so just use that time just to pour into yourself, continue to grow mentally and also physically if you have the resources available. That's all I would say. Just enjoy your time and pour into yourself.
I would just say be proactive. Be proactive. Make sure that you're doing all your detailed homework in regards to the university, the coaches that you're speaking with, and make sure you surround yourself around good people that's going to help you make good, sound decisions as you move forward.
I would say 2 things. One, I always want to coach a team that gives me their full cooperation. So as you move forward to move to your next spot, be committed to giving your coach your full cooperation. And your full cooperation happens when you don't really like everything that he has to say. All right. Secondly, I would say wherever you are, that's your big time. So be sure that wherever you land, that's your Carolina, that's your Duke, that's your Elizabeth City, wherever you are is your big time.
Well, I would say,
Go ahead. I was going to say, just commit to the program. Trust your staff and everything. Know that they're there for you. You got to have an open mind and open heart. You want to get your degree and just really come. If you have the ability to go to the next level, it happens for you. Stay in the gym. Time management is really important. You got to really depend on the coaching staff for that too also. So just really stay committed to this program.
I like to say, right now you got to walk by faith because it may not be a basketball season. And so you got to be able to handle that. And those conversations are not being had. And so if those conversations are not being had, you got to have the autonomy to be able to pivot and be able to go backwards or forward or sideways, to be able to make those adjustments and have the mentality not to be depressed and not to isolate yourself, to be able to just continue to have faith, but always keep reaching for the top because the bottom is overcrowded.
It all comes down to habits, taking a cold hard look at your good and poor habits and really identifying during this time that we have and saying, what is getting you to the level that you're at right now, that you're being recruited at, and then what's going to keep you there and help you improve as you get better when you get in front of these coaches. And the second thing is relationships. Don't forget about the coaches who recruit you and have you there because they believe in you. And don't forget that when they're getting on you and they want you to improve your game.
I would just say make sure your commitment level is equal to what your goals are. Make sure that you're doing whatever it takes to be eligible, be academically where you need to be, make sure your talent is where you need to be so that you can be successful when you get that opportunity to have a scholarship on one of these college campuses.
I'll say just don't be afraid to love the game. Don't be afraid to pour yourself into it. It's going to come back to you in some way. And don't allow somebody else dictate how it's coming back at you. It don't necessarily have to be you being an NBA player. It don't necessarily have to be you being an overseas player, but the relationships you're going to build, the places you're going to get to travel, embrace that stuff as well. Don't let somebody else judge what the game is giving back to you.
Is that everybody? Coach Ham, you going to bring us home?
Well, I think we got to make sure we don't lose sight of the fact that academics are very, very important for the parents and for the kids out there. They need to, and the coaches, we need to make sure we understand we have to prepare ourselves academically, because without that, we can't make anything happen. The second thing I think we need to understand, we need to have a great moral compass. Do unto others and have people do unto you. Just do the right thing, have right character. The third thing is that don't let anybody outwork you. You can control that. You might not control the talent, but your effort that you give and the focus that you give, you control that. Somebody might make a mistake, might not misjudge you, so you got to make sure that you don't let nobody outwork you. Fourth thing is that don't make any excuses. You can't control the outcome or anything, and you control your own destiny. But when you're making excuses because someone beat you out because you just didn't get the job done, if you do those four things, you're going to have a pretty nice life.
Wow.
Here it is. That's going to be a great mixtape later when it's time. All of these bits of advice out to everybody. I'm telling you, it's always, it's just refreshing to hear when people are really moved by the advice that you all give. And that was really good. Y'all ran through that real nicely. I'm very happy.
You guys really, I want to say thank you guys for joining us today. You guys really helped more people than you probably realize now, just spitting the knowledge and the wisdom. There's so many people out there watching and learning. So thank you guys so much for coming on and giving us your time and sharing your knowledge and wisdom on this platform. Before I let you go, I need to get a quick photo out from all these Kappa Alpha Psi men that's on here. So we
got one. I thought we had one early.
We're gonna get a real one. Yeah, we're gonna get a live one.
Hold on, man. Let me get my chest up here. Hey, listen, you see my there?
I want to say thank you guys so much. Again, this was historic. I'm not sure. I know it hadn't been done on the Omega side, and I'm told that it hadn't been done on the Kappa side either. So if that's accurate, thank you guys so much for being part of history. We want to keep this going. You know, again, as you know, relationships are everything in this business. So let's continue to build them. Let's continue to do the right thing for these kids.
I'm gonna pass the loving cup. Anybody got the cup? Well, hold on. We can't get together without passing the loving cup around. I got orange juice in here. Now, Mincy, I know you like drinking something a little stronger. That's okay. Hey, Mincy, yeah, we won't tell anybody in Gatorland. You like that Kappa juice, that Kappa punch.
You all cold water, coach.
Hey, look at all you gotta tell people. Hey, this is the first Sunday we taking communion.
That's good stuff, guys. On three, I'm gonna get you thrown up real quick. 1, 2, 3. Good deal. Good deal. Gentlemen, men of Kappa Alpha Psi, college coaches, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. And again, we look forward to having each and every one of you join us again.
We apologize to you for making a bad mistake and going the wrong way, okay?
I ain't gonna hold that against y'all, man. Y'all, even though y'all made a mistake, I ain't gonna hold that against you. Y'all still all right with me. I got you. Thank you, coaches. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Really appreciate it. Y'all be safe out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Y'all, we want some tickets. We coming to all these games next year too, guys. So y'all be ready for that email. I need the VIP treatment when I come.
I got you.
Hey, I take a medium shirt and coach. He takes an XL. I take a
XL.
Thank y'all so much.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Okay. All right. As the Kappas leave the building,
the Kappas wrecked the platform today.
Yeah, I don't know what their song. I don't know what their song is, so I wasn't able to let them do anything music. But you know.
Yeah, I guess I could. Yeah.
Cues get a little special.
But no, that was fantastic. That was, I mean, anybody.
I took notes. Coach Ham was so
Yeah, we got plenty of notes. But I mean, hopefully everybody out there watching did too. You know, that's kind of why we do this, is to, bring you the information directly from the sources. Again, thank you to the men of Kappa Alpha Psi, the college coaches. Appreciate you guys joining us, making this a historic edition of the Sports Influencer Roundtable, and to all our fans and viewers, thank you guys so much for joining in. And I also want to make sure I thank Kevin Norris, Noob out of Dallas, who helped spread the word and get this out. So shout out to Kevin and all of the noobs out there that tuned in. Appreciate you guys. Hey, volume 31 in the books.
And let me say this on Facebook Live. Thank you, Corey Henderson. He just told me the song was Flashlight. I ain't know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We got to get them back on again anyway. There were so many subtopics within the topics that we'll revisit. We plan to do that on really all of our guests. So two things that stood out: that coachability and circle of influence, just a big deal. So parents, players, y'all need to make sure you are reevaluating, that skill set. So again,
one of the things that stood out to me too, and I'll say this before I depart, Coach Hamilton made a point. He mentioned that he had been at Florida State 19 years, and in his 19 years, he only had 3 players that haven't graduated.
Yeah,
that's huge. Parents,
that's huge.
Parents of a recruit. I'm talking directly to you now. You need to be asking those questions, the graduation rates of some of these schools that are recruiting your kids, because that matters. As Coach Blunt from Drake mentioned, it's a 40-year decision, not a 4-year decision. So You know, you got to be looking way past just basketball. I mean, the ball is going to stop bouncing eventually. What else is that coach, that program, that school doing for you to help you when the ball stops bouncing? So, again, 19 years, only 3 kids, not graduated. That is incredible. And there are a lot of other coaches that have similar stats too. So definitely look out for that and seek that during your process.
All right, number 31 in the books. Thank you, Coach. It was great.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm going to go out here and celebrate my baby Heaven's birthday. Happy birthday, Heaven. Happy birthday. So,
all right, I'm going to close us out real quickly so everybody can get on with their Sunday business.
Yes, and before I go, I'll be remiss if I didn't say thank you again to everybody who donated to the donation drive. Your $5, your 10, your 15, your 20, your 50 went a long way. Anybody else that wants to contribute, please do so.
The doors of the church are always open.
Yeah, every little bit helped. We took COVID-19, we took a big hit with our operating budget for 2020 to the tune of a lot of money. So, we asked the supporters to come in and contribute, so every little bit helps. So, again, thank you for donation, and thank you for those that are going to donate. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Again, head on over to headsupfoundation.org. You can sign up for the virtual classes that we have for the players as well as for the parents in this big thing called the recruiting process. They're intricate curriculum. You will learn a lot. And again, you'll have something to show for it in the end. So head over there, check us out, continue to bless us if you can. We appreciate, as Coach said, all of the generous hearts that saw fit to give with the last plea, and that never ceases. So again, we thank you. We look forward to continuing this mission and this initiative that we have put out here. It's unique and it's getting a lot of traction, and we just appreciate the support. Thank you to everybody who tuned in live on Facebook. Again, watch for the replay. We'll host a couple of watch parties, and we will see you next time. I don't know when that is right now, but it's coming up in a day or so. So be ready. Just stay on the lookout. Stay safe, stay home, and take care of each other. Love on one another. Life is short. Thank you again. Be blessed. We'll see you next time.
Foundation presents the SportsInfluencer Virtual Sports Enrichment Academy for student athletes. This unique online course will present topics like branding, social media, interview training, leadership skills, teamwork, and more. Classes begin April 20th. Learn more and register today at theheadsupfoundation.org. Let's continue to develop and grow.